Mr. President, thank you for joining us.
Great to see you, Jim.
As the country knows, we are in a great deal of turmoil. The country is concerned about, can we trust police? Are we safe with police? This problem didn't begin under your watch. This is incredibly persistent and pervasive. But how much of it does your administration feel you're responsible for making an impact on?
Well, I think an enormous amount. Not just because, as president, you're always responsible for what happens in this country, and you got to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, but because of my particular experiences that I bring to this office. I had a group of young people come before we met, a wider group of civil rights leaders and law enforcement. Most of them were somewhere between 18 and 25. A couple of them were from Ferguson. And when they described their own personal experiences of having been stopped for no reason, or having generated suspicion because they were in a community that supposedly they didn't belong, my mind went back to what it was like for me when I was 17, 18, 20. And as I told them, not only do I hear.
You said something earlier, they don't just give this job away. You really got to work for this job.
You really have to work.
And so I was just wondering, if this is the biggest job in the world, it's almost like you're applying for this job.
Right.
And we are hiring you.
It's like a job interview.
It really is.
It goes on for months, but it is a job interview.
Well,
I think that I have the experience, the qualifications to tackle the range of challenges this job presents in the economy, national security, foreign policy, healthcare, education. I've done a lot of work, and I have references.
Why do you want this job?
Because I really care about what happens to our country. It means a lot to me to make sure that we keep producing good opportunities for people, help everybody have a chance to live up to their God-given potential, and there's more we can do, and I want to try to make that happen for everybody.
What are your strengths?
Well, I'm tenacious. I'm determined.
Can you type?
I've gotten results. I can in a pinch.
Okay. Are you a one-finger typer or a two-handed?
On a real keyboard, I can actually type with more than one finger, but on an iPhone,
that's better than me. iPhone.
It's hard. I'm still struggling. And you know what I really get annoyed by is their spell check takes the word I'm trying to type and totally throws it out and puts something else in that has absolutely no meaning whatsoever. And then I have to start all over again.
Let's not veer off the questions here, Hillary. Let's stick to again, we're interviewing you for this job.
I will only be one of several Europeans. Also, the IMF will be present in Elmau during the G7 summit. The negotiations with Greece are basically pursed by the European Commission, the IMF and the Central Bank. So this is not a German-dominated negotiating format, but it's these three institutions that talk to Greece and with Greece. But we all wish, obviously, politically speaking, that we come to a result. Greece wishes to be part of the Eurozone, but it will have to do what's necessary in order to make this possible. Basically pursuing reforms, otherwise it will not be able to return to a growth path. But we will be able to say that the three institutions are working very hard with Greece and having very intensive talks with them.
Palermo non è un quadro. Un quadro non ha bisogno di una cornice, un Antonello e una Messina piuttosto che un Miró sono belli anche se non hanno una cornice. Palermo è un mosaico fatto di tessere, di cocci di pietra di forme e colori diversi, che sono uno ricco, uno povero, uno arabo, uno normanno, uno rotto, uno sano, uno pulito, uno sporco, è un mosaico.
I will only be one of several Europeans. Also, the IMF will be present in Elmau during the G7 summit. The negotiations with Greece are basically pursed by the European Commission, the IMF, and the central bank. So this is not a German-dominated.
Now we are 21st century. So see, these actually Lama institution, frankly speaking, developed during feudal system. So society changed, have to change. So some of these institutions, some sort of influence the existing society sort of system. Now that outdated. Therefore, as early as 1609, I publicly, officially, I announced the very institution of Dalai Lama should continue or not up to Tibetan people. If majority of Tibetan people at the time of my death feel now this century-old institution not much relevant, then automatically cease.
That's why I had them in the Oval Office, some of these folks who've been organizing these protests, because, the old adage, power concedes nothing without a fight, I think that's true. But what's also true is that a country's conscience